Hi everybody. So we're going to get started with our review of everybody's photo collections. I'm actually reviewing them here in Bridge, in Adobe Bridge. It's pretty easy to look at photographs, folders, and things like that in Bridge, um, just in case you're interested in what program I'm using. Um, okay, so like the previous work on the character, the sketches, um, just keep in mind that whatever photographs you have at this point, we're really just going to make sure that you have one photograph per each part of your character, and then to make sure that it's good quality, it's good size, um, and and that's the main thing really at this point. But you will find, and I think that most students in this class, I think will find that you will probably need to do another round or two of finding photographs later on when you start building it, where you'll look at it and you'll say, I can find a better apple, for the head, or I think this leg, the photograph I have for the leg is, I could probably find something that works a little bit better. So you're going to find that it's just a very natural part as you build your character design. So this, I think, is just a good starting place. And it's also, I think what we're really learning here is just how to pick good quality photographs. Because in general, in anything that you do in design, even if you're not doing anything as we're montaging different photographs together, some of you will end up doing this later, and a lot of you will just be using maybe a single photograph for something. But whatever you're doing, the better quality your photograph is, and better quality meaning the better photographed it is, good color, in focus, good composition, good size for your purpose, um, the more that your design is going to look better. It's like just the raw materials, and the better your raw materials, the better your end product. So that's one of the things that we're really looking at as well. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, Ashley. Okay, this is the sketch that you chose. Yeah, it's a cute sketch. So you've got the microphones for the feet and the chords, and yeah. And in all of your photographs, I think did a really good job here in general. I'll just maybe make a few comments. You got two records. Uh, they're good. All of your photographs are good size, which is great. It's always better to have bigger photographs because you can always downsize them than smaller ones. So we're aiming to try to have some good size for photographs here in this project, just because it'll give your character more better look. I would say of the two records, this is probably a slightly better one. Let me just pull them both up at the same time. So if you look at both of them, can you see how the one on the right looks a tiny bit flatter? It's okay, but can you see like the one on the left, because of the light sort of hitting it, it kind of has more texture and detail and more dimension, despite being flat. So that's something I would say probably the left-hand side is just a slightly better pick for that reason. This is a great image, very dimensional, well photographed. So you can see at the bottom here in Bridge, you can actually see the size here of the pixels. And the pixel dimension is really the most important dimension in any photograph. You can always change resolution in Photoshop, but you can't add more pixels. So pixels is always the thing I look at. So you have two chords here. So yeah, both of these are good. So I don't think you need to make any changes to your photographs. Just a note here that if you're planning on selecting any of the chord here, that you may need to find a photograph that the chord is also in focus, because anything that's out of focus, if you try to use it for your character, tends to be a little challenging. You don't get clean edges and it looks a little blurry. So this is probably a little bit better, but just keep that in mind. I'm not sure what you're planning to do with it in terms of the chord. This is good too. It's also very in high resolution. This, you may find that when you're trying to select this, just a note about selecting it next week. When you start selecting things, the closer the object you're selecting is in terms of color or even value to the background, the harder it is to select, just because Photoshop really relies on that. So you may find that you may need to play around with some different chords here. This one, so it looks like you're going to choose one of these. They're all very different, aren't they? I might play around with that. Sometimes see-through items can be a little hard for the character because they get a little bit light, visually light. So I might try, this one's pretty good. One of these more sort of opaque or solid ones might work a little bit better. Give them both a try. They're kind of verging on having maybe a bit too much, like on the edge of having too much text, like my notes in the assignment, to just avoid things with too much text. But I think actually you probably could easily remove this text. We're going to learn about that later on. So it's sometimes if you have too much text, it can be hard to remove it, but this is sort of, I think you could probably successfully remove some of that pretty easily. Okay, I think you're good to go for next week. Okay, Antonia, yes, I agree. Finding images that are big enough is typically the thing that students say is difficult. It's always a little harder to work with that. I'll show you, I think I may have demonstrated this in the video tutorials that I have about using Google Images. That's one of my favorite places to search with some caveats. But yeah, I would say all of your images need to be bigger. And there are these three here. Let's see, especially this one and this one. I think they're photographed beautifully. They've got good detail, really clear. They'll work really well for the project, with the exception of the size. This one, just watch any elements that are too detailed with like decorative, designs on them or text, because what happens is they don't look very, they don't create enough of a form. Like compare it with this one. Can you see how three-dimensional that looks? Which will work beautifully in your character. Whereas anything that is too decorative, like my notes in the assignment says, it doesn't give you that nice dimension you're looking for. Okay, so that's the main thing. Let's just go to Google Images here, and I'll just show you a quick way to find a better sized image. Just keep in mind that the assignment asks you to have a minimum of 5 photos. That's a minimum, so I always recommend having more photos than that. That way, you get more points by having more photos. And you have 1 photo for each image, which is what you want, or for each object, which is what you definitely want. But feel free to pick a few. Like I definitely think you could probably have a few different images and then pick and choose later on. So more is always better. Okay, let's go to Google Images. Okay, so here we are in Google Images. We're just going to select images here, and then we're going to go to more. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Settings, tools. I always get this wrong. So tools is where we want, and then size, and then pick larger than this one, which is pretty close to what we want. And then you're going to find so many different images. Can you see, like, there's tons of great images. So any one of these, let's just pick this one. And then all you need to do here is go to View Image and then download it. Just double check that it doesn't have any watermarks. It's a good quality image. But as I mentioned, you can for this class you can choose photos from anywhere you like. I know that in some classes, there's more restrictions of copyright and such, but I'm really very flexible with where you find your photographs, because I feel like sometimes it can be challenging to just stick with one source. So we've got enough other criteria to work with and think about in this class, so that's one where I'm really very flexible. Okay, so I hope that helped, and I think you're going to easily find what you need for your. Let me just mention one other thing. Tissue box. Let's just do that, and I'm going to just stick with my same settings here. You'll often find that stock photo sites, like you can see here, oftentimes have really simple shapes. without a lot of detail. So I think you'll probably pretty easily be able to find a tissue box here. Just, kind of scroll through. Think about, the dimension. Like this wouldn't be a good choice. This is still a little flat, but when you start getting a good light and dark side, that can often be a good choice. I don't think this is probably, but anyhow, so you can sort of spend some time looking around for that. Okay, Whitney, let's see. Feedback that will help you improve in your character. Yeah, I think overall your character looks good. You've got the character design. You have some very specific parts here, and you may need to be a little flexible with them. Like, for example, with the top hat, maybe any other top hat. It doesn't necessarily have to be a toy top hat. So you can kind of play with that a little bit. When you get very specific, I think that can tend to limit the elements that you can get. Okay, so I looked through your photographs. They all look really good size, which is great. With the building block, which is a great element, I would try to find a single building block rather than a clump of building blocks, because it'll make it a lot easier to select your building block. And think about, having I like the way this is angled a little bit, so you get a three-dimensional look to it. So, a really nice, clear, detailed building block is what you're looking for, with good, good lighting, so you get a really good, for example, maybe even like this, where this will be easy to select from there, and then you get some nice three-dimensional qualities to it. Okay, so you want to avoid using anything that is not a photograph. So you can't use these because they're graphics rather than photographs. This top hat, yeah, I might be a little more flexible with just other types of top hats. Maybe it doesn't have to be a toy top hat, because I think maybe, this detail on here might be a little hard to work with. So I would keep working with maybe looking for other ones. I like the idea of this, so this is going to be feet, Mr. Potato feet, I think, right? So something to watch out for is having elements covering, just like the building blocks. You want to have a full round view of the object. So I might just see, maybe you can do a search for Mr. Potato feet. I don't know, feet or shoe. See if you can find something that is, let's just go to, maybe somebody has photographed at some point just the shoes. This is a little too detailed, otherwise it would be, somehow to get a nice selection here with the feet. I don't see anything off the bat. So you could do a little more work, maybe looking for that, and seeing if you can find it. And if you can't, then feel free to use any other type of shoe that you can to build your character. This could be a good head, although can you see it's a little out of focus? Yeah, this is nice. Again, the feet, the shoes. This could be a good shoe for running. I could see you could select this and maybe find another shoe that you can that is in this direction but not cut off. So that could be a good possibility. And that is going to go here, right? So just remember that you're going to be using just photographs for your element. So you're not going to be able to add any text to your actual character unless it's somehow part of something else. So again, be flexible with your character. Maybe it doesn't need to be holding this element. The main thing is that you're just building a character from photographs in a kind of creative way. So yeah, okay, so that's my feedback here in terms of just making sure that you get good photographs to work with. So you might want to keep experimenting with finding more photographs, keeping that feedback in mind. Okay, Darla. Yeah, definitely. What a lot of students do with their objects, if they look too new, is they might kind of like layer over stains and things like that, using some of the techniques that we'll be learning. So yeah, definitely, you can definitely age things in Photoshop. Um, so this is the character you've chosen, okay? Mushrooms and broken fork arm. So let's see. So this is going to be, is this going to be the body? I think so, right? Oh, hold on. Oh, wait, no. A tire. I think the tire, right? Broken crockery. Oh, that's the mouth. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. So let's see. Good size. Yep, this is nice. This is a nice image. And that looks good too. So that's going to be that rolling pin. That's a nice one. I like the three-dimensional quality here. That looks really good. And then this is going to be your eye. Yep, that looks good. The mushroom. So the mushroom, I would keep looking for a better mushroom picture. I love the color of this one, like the bright pink, but it doesn't have a lot of form to it. It's very flat, if that makes sense. Like you see how this is so three-dimensional because of the lighting. So I try to find a mushroom that looks, a little bit more dimensional, the way it's photographed. So you get more roundness to it. That'll really help in your character design. Oh, you have another. So this is a little bit better. I think this will work. This would work better. It's still a tiny bit flat, but it has more dimension. And the only thing is that it does have some kind of grass growing over it, and it looks like in your image you want the whole thing selected. So if you can find one that is a little cleaner at the bottom, I think that would work really good. And then the tire. This is a tiny bit flat, but I really like the aged quality. So you could probably, this is probably something where you could enhance it in Photoshop later on. You could apply some adjustment layers and kind of make it a little bit, kind of maybe saturate it a little bit more, add some more darks and lights to kind of work with it. And I do think it sort of fits quite nicely with this idea here of having it all kind of flat at the bottom. Um, so, yeah, I think that could really work. Okay, I think really the only thing here at this point, I think your collection looks really good, except I would just maybe hunt around, see if you can find a better mushroom picture. Okay, Nick, let's see here. Cake, let's see, the legs were, hmm, something rolls, and something rolls of something. Spaghetti for, it looks like for the arms, burger for the head, and then let's see, what were the arms for the eyes? Fries? Fries? Maybe we'll figure it out when we look at your design here. Okay. Burger. Burger. Okay. That's a good size. So that's going to go here. This might work. It's got a lot of detail in it. It's pretty piled high. But if that was your idea, then that could work. It almost seems like here it seems a little flatter. Um, and it looks like so. Yeah, I might experiment with that. I think it's okay for now, but you may need to change it out depending. Like, what kind of like part of the body is this going to be? Sort of like built into the torso? Like, is this going to be the torso type of idea and this is going to be the head? You know, or is this going to be part of the head and this is kind of the top? Like, you know what I mean? Is this going to be the head? In which case, almost like this seems like the mouth. I'm not quite sure at this point. So you might want to think about that, how you're going to build it. Like, how is it going to conform to a body? Um, Not that it has to be literal in any way. Like you can have some things that are, very creative. Just as long as we get the idea that yes, it is a body. That's what we're basically going for. The burrito. Now, where is the burrito in your character? This to me looks like fries at the top. Is this going to be a burrito at the top? Anyhow, let's see. That's a great image. I love that. Very kind of dimensional, really beautiful detail and color form. Oh, so that's probably going to be the legs, right? Yeah, I think that would make a nice leg. Um, that's beautiful. What a beautiful image. I love that. It's got beautiful color already, and we can change color in Photoshop very easily, but I do like, and we'll talk more about color way further down the road when we start kind of manipulating the colors a bit more, but I think that's a really beautiful element, and then your legs are gonna come down from there. Um, Lunch, onion ring. So, oh, are you planning to put the French fries in there? Is that what you're doing? That could work. I could see that. You could select that out and then insert the French fries. If you're doing that, you may want to try to find a really good photograph of French fries, like just maybe lying, like, really clear and focused, three-dimensional. Get a few different options of French fries, because it seems like that's going to be really an important element, and you want to have good French fries to be able to put up here. The eyes. What are the eyes going to be? Well, I might have to, let's open your PDF here. Okay. Yeah, I think those are nice noodles. It's hard to get good noodles, and I like the idea of getting sort of thicker noodles, so that you can select them. So I think those could work. Yeah, and then you can, of course, kind of wave them around. Like you can twist them. So that's a good one. Let's just see what your eyes are. While we're waiting for Photoshop to open. And this is your other arms too. Yeah. Because these are more clumped together, they would make, unless you're going to select them as a clump, which I think can also, this might be, yeah, this might work a little bit better. It's always a matter of trying to select elements out of the background. But it's good you have two. That's great. So you can, see which one works best. Okay, hold on. See what Photoshop is doing. Okay, onion rings are I see, onion rings. So for the onion ring, same thing. I would try to get a really clear photo of an onion ring, just kind of on a plain background, really nice dimensions. You should be able to find that pretty easily in Google Images, so that when you select it for your eye, you're going to have a really good, simple selection with a really good, photograph of an onion ring. So I might replace that one. Okay, that's my only suggestions. I think you're really going in a good direction here. You've got good large images, and just a little tiny tweaking, and I think you'll be good for this week. Okay, Timothy. So you decided not to use yeah. You've got a lot of elements in your design, and you may find, in addition to the triangles around the eyes, that as you go through and start developing your character, that you may want to, simplify it further, and that's perfectly okay. Maybe around the face and things. So sometimes you'll notice that as we go through that, sometimes smaller details can get lost, like very small objects that you montage into your design. And so if the design can just exist with more simplicity, just like the face being, I can't see what is the overall shape. Almost looks like a tambourine. I'm not sure if that's what it is, but if it can exist just that way, then that's more powerful, So yeah. Okay, let's look at your images here. You've got a lot of images, so I'm just going to I'm going to trust that you've got everything covered here. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the images themselves. So this is actually a very beautiful image. It's got good shade like light and shadow in it, which will make it very dimensional. It is a wee tiny bit small. You want to kind of aim maybe, and then you can play with this too, but you know, for some of the bigger elements in here, it can help to be a little bit bigger, but if it doesn't, you know, the main thing we want to avoid is having something pixelate when we make it bigger. And if it doesn't do that, then, uh, or get kind of blurry. So this might be a bit small. This is probably going to be okay. It's a tiny bit small, but this is perfect. Really big, nice big image. This is really good. This is too small. Definitely too small. You can even see as I open them in Bridge, so you can see that's how big, because it's like just filling the entire screen. Whereas this is a wee little image, and that's, you can see at the bottom that it's very, very small. So again, I recommend about 1,000 at the longest edge or more. Like this is good. This is a very good image in terms of the photoshopping. Or, I mean the I think you wanted to put it up here. In which case, yes, that would definitely be big enough for that. Again, it may be, you might be getting a bit too much detail in there. This is good. Yes, this is good. Yeah. So these are all, this is a wee bit small, but it is a good photograph. This is a nice size. That's too small, and this is fine. So I would just say that you've got I think you definitely have enough images here. I would just take out the small ones. If you need to replace them with other ones, then do that. And just, again, thinking about as we go through that with this, and this is, I think, one of the things that happens with this particular character, which is like with a lot of musical instruments can be very, very detailed. You know what I mean? Like in and of themselves. Look how much detail's on there. So think about that, that you may have to simplify your design in various places. Like think about what could be an instrument that maybe has that kind of brass quality or curves that I'm looking for that maybe is a bit more simple than a saxophone. And again, I wouldn't worry about that for this week, but moving forward next week, you may find, and you may hear me say again, that you may have to simplify just to kind of get your character working together. Oh, okay. Okay, Brendan. French fries with as little words on it as possible. Good. And it was hard finding a high quality image of a lollipop that isn't a cartoon drawing. Yeah, that's so true, eh? When you're looking for images, there's a lot of cartoon drawings or vector imagery out there, and you have to kind of sift through it, I should say, to try to find stuff. Okay. Okay, so here's your character. Yeah, and your apple is the head. It's nice apple, very nice. Look at that beautiful dimension in it. And your olive, also very nice dimension. This is very good. Yeah, these are all really good. Yeah, and this one, yeah, it's a very, I think it's a good size and everything. It is a little flat with all of the different colors in it, and I certainly see what you mean about the vector images. Let's see if this helps at all. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I think you actually did a pretty good job at going through this, because all of these look very similar and kind of, have a sort of flat look to them when you get the kind of curving. And there's a little more dimension in that. I don't know if that appeals to you or not. So I think that's the only thing. If you want to just go through and get maybe a few more alternatives to that one, just to have something to experiment with, that's probably what I do. Plus, you have 5 images right now, and you did a good job at all the different parts. The assignment says a minimum of 5, so I always recommend doing a couple more than that. That way, you exceed that minimum, and and I, and that's that's the main thing here. I think you did a really good job here at being quite fussy about all of your images. Okay, Daniel, you wanted to take some photos. Yeah, it's that definitely is another project in almost in and of itself, is taking the photographs. So I'm perfectly okay with you searching for them on the internet, because I actually think that takes a lot of um, work as well, and kind of skill at sorting through the different photographs and picking ones that are going to work for your character and that are good quality. Um, and I think that there's like a lot you can learn by looking at photographs. Then when you do, if you come and back at some other point in the future and start taking your own photographs, I think you learn a lot by just the study of other people's photographs. The good, the bad. Um, so let's see. You've got bottle caps, toothpicks, orange peels. Takeout cup. I love that idea for the takeout cup for the head, and the straw coming out at the top. That's pretty fun. Banana peel. Okay. Well, that's a beautiful image. Look at that. Very nice. Canada. Home country. Yeah, that looks good too. Yeah, I think this will be good. It's kind of, so it has a touch too much graphics for this project. If you can find a cup that's just a simple cup, it tends to work better for this project. Like the less graphics, I think, the better that are applied, just because then your character design is really going to come through, like what you develop in it. You'll notice that as you go through, if you worked with both, a simple cup, like a plain cup, versus one with graphics, that you would probably end up liking your simple one better, just because of the way it integrates with the other elements and doesn't take away from them. So I find a real simple cup. There should be something, again, in Google Images. They often have a lot of stock photos you can sift through that are minus the graphics. So I think you'll be able to find that okay. This looks good. Yeah, these all look really good. Good photographs, good size. So this is the only one I would replace.